It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How's everybody?
We told you we'd be back.
Mm.
We back.
Misa back!
Oh, God.
Oh, Lord.
Nobody asked for that.
Misa.
Nobody asked for that, all right?
I'll take Star Wars references, but not that.
Okite.
You know, I have to say,
No, you don't, but
in
go ahead.
Clone Wars, he really kind of redeemed himself. He wasn't as bad, so just saying. Maybe it was just me.
Maybe.
Well,
And on that note,
welcome to July, and we are officially halfway through the year, believe it or not.
Yay!
Mm.
And Halloween is coming up. Yay!
It's Christmas in July. Woo!
Yay!
Gosh. No.
Well, I mean, Lifetime Channel can't do Halloween movies, so they might as well do Christmas movies. So come on.
Why can't they do
Sci-fi's
Halloween
good.
movies? That's a choice. They could totally do Halloween movies. That would be freaking awesome.
I'm not disagreeing,
You
but
could
I
just
mean,
have,
even if
like
they,
you have the Spirit Halloween stores move into the empty store in October, you could have
Mhm.
horror movies move into Lifetime TV during October. That would be awesome.
I still wouldn't watch Lifetime Channel, so I'm sorry.
I don't have it, but that's not. I mean,
Well, I don't either, but you know, if I did, I still would watch it, even if they were showing horror movies. Yeah.
I don't.
There's-
they're already showing Christmas movies.
Say now, at Christmas time, I'm sad to say that I live off Lifetime and Hallmark Channel.
We're sad that you're saying that too. Honestly,
Yes.
Like, as soon as I pack up my Halloween stuff, it's on the TV.
it's straight into the other arm. Right.
Yep. It's like, what's Thanksgiving? There's no movies for Thanksgiving.
It's be-
Well, there might be a few, but you know.
Yeah. But apparently they aren't any good. I mean,
There's a lot of contention around that whole thing, so who knows?
There's a few specials that are all right.
It's all about
I-
parades, not movies. So, and also food.
Well, and
Yeah.
also
Cooking
let's go
shows.
ahead.
We could watch cooking shows for Thanksgiving. That's what we should do.
Yeah. I agree. Like Cutthroat Kitchen and stuff. Those
Well,
kind of cooking
depends
shows.
on the experiences that your family has with that holiday, but okay.
Mm.
No, that'd be more like Crime Scene Kitchen.
That was a thing a few years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it still is. Yeah.
Ah. Shows you how much I pay attention.
So, what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
What do you think the last 5 minutes has been? Jeez.
Pretty much about Christmas movies.
Yeah, you started that, by the way. I just want to point that out.
Oh man.
I didn't mention Christmas, so you know.
You
no-
did too. I have the evidence on record.
Rewind
here.
it. Rewind it.
I said we were halfway through the year. And then someone mentioned we're getting close to Christmas.
No, I said Halloween.
She said Halloween. You said Christmas in
You said
July.
I
Christmas.
said Christmas in July. Yeah, it's a little different.
It's got the word Christmas in it. It's close enough.
Okay, whatever.
Squirrel.
Anyway. Tangent already. There we go.
Oh, man. Well, in my little corner of the world, God, 2 weeks, and it's like, what the hell did I do for 2 weeks? The only thing popping straight to my head that anybody would really even care to want to hear, I did finally watch Doctor Strange. I have been so looking forward to this movie since the first one. Totally was not disappointed. It's like if you take the Evil Dead and Doctor Strange and smash it together, this is what Sam Raimi gave to us. It was awesome, though. It doesn't sound like it would be, but it was. It so was. I don't want to spoil too much because I know it just came to streaming service, and I don't know, So if you don't want to hear about it,
it's hard to say how far to fast forward to not hear about it, but anyway.
Yeah, and I think that part of what I'm about to say has been all over the internet anyways. Most of the time when there's like a big movie or something come out, I will go into, I don't even know the name of the program now, but you can block out certain words from your internet. It's kind of like a parental kind of control thing. So if you don't want to hear about Justin Bieber, you pipe his name in and boom, he's gone. You no longer see anything about him. So for Doctor Strange, Batman, those kind of things, I do that because I don't want to watch spoilers. Now, some of these dumbasses can't spell, and I wind up seeing some of them anyways. So, but for
Got to come up with a whole lot of variant spellings of Bieber to get that one right, let me tell you.
Right. What's the stupidest way I could spell Spider-Man? So, which actually was Spider-Man. I wrote it together, and I hyphenate it, and I do 2 words. So, some of those you can eliminate on your own. But anyways, I hadn't seen any of them. And I don't know a lot about Marvel's canon. So I can watch these movies and have fun with them because it's not grinding my gears because that's not the way it was supposed to happen. So I don't know how comically correct this is, but
comically correct. I like that term.
It did strike me kind of like House of M, where Wanda has been gaslit and she's a good little girl and she's doing everything that everybody wants her to because she's a good little girl, and then all of a sudden somebody slips and says something and she's like killing half the Avengers. And Wanda's had a very, very, very bloody past with Marvel, which surprises me how, once it's all said and done, they're like, oh, it's okay because the most powerful witch in the world was controlled by a man. She's good now. So it's kind of like, huh, okay. It makes for good comics, though. But I was happy that they did kind of take that route and show us what a badass Wanda is, that she's not I felt with the Avengers that they wanted her, but they didn't want her. They needed her power and what she could do for them, but they didn't want her because with her came a lot of responsibility. Because, face it, she's dabbled with, the dark power and everything else. She's a ticking time bomb. And Doctor Strange showed us that maybe they were right for not fully trusting her because she was a ticking time bomb. But then also, watching a lot of Doctor Strange, it made, you got to go back to Age of Ultron when he starts speaking like prophecy, kind of, this is what's going to happen in this world and da-da-da-da-da. I think that he saw what was happening, that he knew what was going to happen with Thanos, that he knew what was going to happen with Wanda, and that's why he was like, erase man. You know, they can't be trusted, and no matter what you do, you're always going to fail, so I'm going to take you out now and save you from these two, you know. And part of that, you have to think, too, Vision was part of the Time Stone. So when Thanos got that, well, go back to before Vision was Vision, when Ultron had, you know, aren't they the same being kind of thing? Well, they both were powered by the Time Stone. So they both have those memories. They both have, you know, when Ultron took that in, I think that's how he was able to see what's happened here. So, like I said, for me, I could be way off base. I don't know. For me, it made Ultron seem not as bad as if that he actually knew what it wasn't just a rogue robot. He actually did see things, and you know,
20 some odd movies later, we're starting to put this together now. That's
right. Funny. Well, she and Petro were introduced as a end scene. I can't remember which movie it was that they were an end scene at, and it already showed her with the dark power. So it would make sense that they knew, because when she was working with him, you know. Anyways, to me, it kind of, I felt Doctor Strange was their way of wrapping all this up. All of the plot holes that we've had over this time, here it is. You know, the only one big plot hole that I will say that they did not address in this movie, and I'm kind of sad they didn't, was Mordo. At the end of Doctor Strange 1, he was, you know, told Stephen, I will hunt you down everywhere you go, and I will kill you because there's too many sorcerers, and he wanted to be the supreme. Well, then you go to this movie, and there's no Mordo. So it's like, where did he go? You know? All of this big threat that's happening now would be the perfect time for someone like that to pop in. We did see his alter multiverse self. So we did see a version of him, and he was an asshole in that world too, but it was kind of like, you know, how can you show us the doppelganger and not address that storyline? Because that's how that movie ended. So that was kind of weird. But all in all, I loved it. So far, for me, this has been the best Marvel movie. Like I said, don't come for me. I'm not a comic fan. I don't know how comic correct it was. I love Sam Raimi. I love the work that he does. And when you can take that and interject it into another one of my loves, which is comic, it freaking was perfect, you know. And of course, we've seen Bruce Campbell. I loved that. And actually, the cameo he made was a callback to Evil Dead. So that was kind of cool, too. Or Sam Raimi's first car was in the movie, too. So I think it will be in every movie he makes. But yeah, all in all, I liked it. Things I've seen that people have complained about it was kind of like, well, that's stupid. You didn't watch the movie. You know? Like at one point, he grabs a bunch of souls and he makes like a cape out of them, which was freaking badass and probably one of the best visual effects that they gave. Well, not the best. I almost said the best. It was one of the better visual effects that they gave. The best visual in this whole movie. I mean, the whole movie's just a mind trip. You know, if you're into visuals, this one's really got it. But at the very beginning of the movie, they fall through dimensions. And in this dimensions that they're falling through, they fall through like 20 of them. And it's kind of cool because in one dimension they were paint, one dimension they were cartoons, one other dimension they were pixelated. And all of this, like I said, like 20 different universes happens in the span of maybe a minute. Yeah. So it's kind of like, wow. So all in all, I loved it. I think if you have not seen it yet, it's really worth it. They don't. I'm trying to think other than other than the first Doctor Strange movie, I wouldn't say you would have to watch all of the Marvel movies back to back to understand what's going on in this movie.
Oh, good.
I will say, if you watch WandaVision, it will kind of give you a better understanding of Wanda, because if you've only seen the movies and not WandaVision, I can understand where people are like, what the fuck happened to Wanda? This is not, So you kind of have to see that transition there of what happened to her. And it kind of, to me, I guess being a mom, I really identified with her at this, because not that I would kill a whole universe to get my kids back, but she had kids.
Oh, come on. Of course you would.
Of course I would. She had kids at one point, which she said, were made belief. She made them. Her vision made them. Well, she made them, but it was something that you can't turn off, that she loved them. Those were her kids. In her mind, that really was her kids. She experienced all of that. Now, it may have been accelerated time, but she birthed them, she raised them, she loved them, she was a mom. And then all of a sudden, poof, that's gone. That would suck. That's like basically your kids dying. Well, and if you remember, at the very end of WandaVision, we see her with the Darkhold doing dark magic while her other self is grieving the loss of these kids, and then she hears them. So, okay, you're the most powerful witch in the world. You're grieving the loss of your children, and then you hear them. And you keep trying to tell yourself, I made them up, but then you hear them. So it's kind of something that she couldn't just let go. She couldn't let go. And honestly, if she didn't truly love them, she could, but, So it's kind of sad, all in the same sense. It's kind of sad. I'm curious if Marvel will come back in now and clean her back up like they did in the comics and make her a good person again and go from there. I'm not really for sure, but we did get introduced to America Chavez is in this one. And I'm glad they opened that door. I'm curious to see where she goes next. So I don't know. Like I said, all in all, I liked it. Not a surprise though, because like I said, I am a Sam Raimi fan. So yeah. Have any of y'all seen it yet?
I have not.
Nope.
I haven't either, but having to latch onto Wonder World and take all that in just to watch this? No.
Well, I mean, you don't have to, but it does kind of... I think in the Marvel movies, they kind of held back with us on what Wanda truly is. She's a powerful witch, They've used her to some of her extent, but in WandaVision, we actually get to experience like her mind control and just how vivid she can make that scene. And, the fight there at the end with Agatha where she tells her, I've seen you become the most powerful witch and you're destined to rule. So we know that she knows what the Darkhold is, especially by the end where they show her with it. So without that little bit of information from where they jumped from the Avengers, I don't think people really would understand why she's such a threat to Doctor Strange at this point, because they've never really showed us her capabilities. And in this movie, it's all out. And, you know, a lot of people, well, why didn't she do this sooner? Well, she tells them at the very beginning of the movie, I've been reasonable, and that's why, you know, she didn't go kill everybody. But even then, you can see there's a struggle there of being good and being bad, you know, that she wants something so bad, but she's not going to kill everybody yet. Until they tell me no, and then I'll kill them. But yeah, so I that's the only reason I say WandaVision. Not that it's a necessity, but it would help to know what happened there. But it's not really talked about other than her saying, "Oh, you came here to talk to me about what I did," and he was like, "No, I didn't." So that's the only thing they mention of WandaVision, but it also explains the kids and that kind of thing, where they came from, and
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
That's where your running of movies together, which Marvel will do now forever.
Yeah.
That's where it's at fault.
Yeah.
Because if you did not see WandaVision, you did not know that the kids were created. You
Yep.
did not know they died. Things like that.
Or that she had the ability to control a whole town. You know? That was kind of impressive.
Yeah. That's where I have a problem with it.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
And
homework.
granted,
It
Yeah.
is.
too damn much for me.
Yeah. I could see that. And one other thing that they didn't even, the last two movies now, Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, I don't understand how the series Loki was supposed to play into any of this. I originally thought that the Loki series was he crashed the multiverse. He like screwed it up really, really, really bad. Well, in the last two movies, it's actually Doctor Strange messing with the universe that's messed it up. So nothing that Loki did has even, you know, really shown that it's a blip and that there's a problem yet. So I'm wondering if they decided to go a different route from where Loki was.
Well, we'll find out in the second season.
Is there a second season? Well, maybe that's why they didn't address anything.
There's supposed to be a second season of Loki.
I also wonder if we'll get hints somehow in Thor: Love and Thunder.
Maybe so, where he's more closely tied to.
Right. I mean, even if it's just a cutscene in the credits,
Yeah.
something, you know.
Yeah.
Because him being wherever he is, I forget exactly what it is, he's like gone from existence, like completely. Thor would probably think that he's dead at this point, so it's kind of, you know, it would be nice for them to kind of explain some of that, but I haven't seen them really call back for Tom Hiddleston yet, so
Right.
I don't know.
We'll see.
Yep.
They probably have a plan. I mean,
Yeah.
we clearly at this point have no idea what it is, but that's cool.
No, Kevin does have a plan. Yeah.
Yeah. And I hadn't really thought about it until Wes said that like that, but it is kind of weird that they would take a TV show to play into their movies the way that they did.
Well, they're trying to set a trend with that kind of thing, I think.
Yeah, or at least give some kind of like short recap of what happened there so somebody doesn't have to go back and watch 12 episodes or whatever it was, you know. Previously.
Yeah, we go back to the old, back in the day when they did the first page in the comic, which was the, hey, last time, what you missed from last month was blah.
Yeah. Or just kind of pull everything together, because I heard, now I haven't watched any of Miss Marvel yet, I heard that Miss Marvel is actually supposed to play into the next Spider-Man pretty hard too, so it's kind of like, they haven't really addressed her in the movies yet, so I'm wondering if they'll do it the same way as WandaVision, where you'll have to watch the TV show to know what's going on with her.
Maybe.
Maybe.
just have to wait and see and cough up a bunch of money when they come out.
Yep. But yeah, even if you don't get it, watch it. Because the visuals on this movie are freaking amazing, man. I didn't watch it on the TV. I had to watch it at my computer so my face could be like 4 inches away. So I could see every little detail of what was going on.
That's not bad for you or anything. Jeez.
There's so much in this movie, you know? So much. Like I said, just falling through those dimensions, if you blink, you miss all through. So, it's pretty cool.
I want to know how all of this is going to tie in with the Eternals.
I don't think it will.
I'm sure everybody does. So I'm pretty sure anybody would be at this point would be happy to get any sort of context for the Eternals.
But this movie did introduce X-Men and Fantastic Four into the Marvel Universe.
Spoiler.
Oh, sorry, spoiler.
You warned about spoilers half an hour ago, so it's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, now that we've seen them, it'll be easier to, you know. It was the world that Steven's originally from is like 828, and the Earth that the main part of this movie happened on was like 616, and so that's the universe that X-Men and all of that existed. Well, I don't know if X-Men exists. I know Charles Xavier did. So, and Reed was wearing the Fantastic Four suit. So, I don't know.
Then I pose the question, which version of the Fantastic Four, which version of the X-Men? Because that's going to be
Charles
major.
Xavier was actually from the animated series with the yellow like spaceship thing that he sat in.
Hover chair.
The hover chair, yeah. That was actually a callback from the animation. Now, I don't know his name, but the last guy who played Reed, is that his name? The smartest man in the world? Rubber Man?
Yeah.
Richards, yeah. The guy who played him was the exact same guy in this movie, same suit. I could see his face. It's like, yeah.
Like the one that came out like 10 years ago?
Yeah. Like the one that, like, Petro was from.
Miles Teller? The 2015 movie?
Let's see.
The one with Chris Evans?
No, that's not him. John Krasinski?
Has he actually been in a movie yet?
Nope. But he had been listed as fan cast for forever.
I thought he was the last Richards.
No.
Okay.
He's from The Office, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was trying to think of. Yes. Yes, he was Reed Richards, or whatever. And, see, who else was in here? Do you remember the Avengers who weren't the Avengers? And, like, one of the guys had no mouth? Well, okay, hang on. Let me go back to that. He had a mouth, but, like, if he spoke, like, your whole body would just, like,
Black Bolt.
disintegrate.
You're
Yes.
talking about Black Bolt, yeah.
Black Bolt. Black Bolt is in it. And then they had Captain Carter actually as Captain America. Well, she wasn't Captain America. She was Captain...
Britain?
Yeah, whatever that one is. And then there was Charles Xavier, and then Mordo, and then Captain... Maybe it was Captain Marvel? Was it Captain Marvel?
Brie Larson?
It
Wasn't
no,
Brie Larson.
no, it's Monica's mom. Monica
Yes.
Rambeau's mom
Yes.
as Captain Marvel.
Yep.
Ah.
And altogether, they're not the Avengers, they're the Illuminati.
Yeah.
Oh.
And Doctor Strange's wife, God, what the hell is her name? Is it Carol?
Clea.
Not Clea, the other one that he was so in love with.
Mm.
Well, it wasn't his wife, but she's the one who gave him the watch. She was married to him in this other world, and she's like a doctor who works for Reed Richards now. So it'll be kind of curious. You know, they've set up a whole thing for him, but
I fucking hate multiverse stuff.
yeah. Well, I'm not going to spoil it. Yeah.
Good. Don't.
Yeah. I won't.
First time we've heard
But you
that
would
all
like
night.
what happened here.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that one's just too big of one, though. But like I said, it was pretty cool because they had did the Peggy Carter story in the What If on Marvel. So it was kind of cool to see her actually take that role. So yeah, a lot was set up in this movie.
Apparently.
I would have to say, after watching Spider-Man a couple of weeks ago, more was set up in Doctor Strange than with Spider-Man. I didn't really see anything being set up with Spider-Man at all.
No, they're just telling the one story, you know.
Yeah.
As opposed
It
to
did
trying
kind
to
of
tell
feel
all
like
of them at once.
a one and done with that last one.
Yay.
Well, no, because there's another one coming up. So
Well,
they're
that's
not
fine.
done.
But it's just one. Do
Yeah.
them one at a time. That's helpful. It's when you're trying to do 53 different movies at once that makes my brain hurt.
Right.
And I'm not even watching the damn thing.
With 5 cutscenes.
Yay.
This one did have 2, and yes, Clea was at the end of it.
Yay.
Yay.
Is it my turn now? Okay. I'm going whether it's my turn or not. Damn it. We got to get through this thing some way or another. So given 2 weeks off, well, off-ish, because stuff was going on. But given enough time, apparently, I can actually manage to watch a documentary.
Yeah, right.
So yay. I did. And this documentary, I watched it out of kind of raw curiosity. But this came out in 2018, and it's called Wolfman's Got Nards. The reason I watched it out of raw curiosity is because I've never seen the Monster Squad. And this documentary is about the Monster Squad, sort of. There's a lot of kind of background information about the movie itself, but that's not what this documentary is about. This documentary is about kind of the resurgence that the Monster Squad has had and sort of where that started. This movie was actually made by Andre Gower. Andre Gower played Sean in the Monster Squad. And he had some help from some of the other kids from the movie, because they were kind of the ones who sort of spearheaded the resurgence inadvertently. I mean, essentially, I won't go into too much detail. I certainly won't spend half an hour describing this thing. But it basically started with, it was in 2006. And we can blame Alamo Drafthouse for this, because somebody there decided to put together a screening of the Monster Squad for whatever their reasons were. And they contacted some of the people involved in making the movie and said, hey, would you be interested in showing up for a Q&A for this? And like 3 or 4 of the people said sure. And this was a movie that, again, not too much detail, but this movie utterly tanked in the box office. I mean, it did so bad it only barely got a VHS release. Which you think about it now, it's actually a pretty well-loved movie, but man, did it not land initially. But so 20 years later, Alamo Drafthouse puts together a screening, as they do with so many other movies like this. I mean, they've been doing it a long time, obviously. And it was a huge hit. I mean, they sold out in minutes for the first screening. So much so that they started scheduling more screenings and getting these people to come hang out and do these Q&As. And it turned into kind of a phenomenon. Like they've done multiple tours of screenings and Q&As like this since then. They're still doing it. I mean, I don't know what the pandemic's done to them. This came out in 2018. They were still doing it as of then. They have a bunch of film footage from this, from doing these things. And there were a lot of really cool interviews. They did quite, because one of the people involved early on was Fred Decker, who was the director. Listening to him talk about this movie in this documentary is really interesting because, man, it kind of tanked his career for a while. And so he has a very different take than the kids from this movie did at the time. And so, yeah, it's really interesting listening to him talk about it. Another thing that I wasn't aware of, this movie was co-written by Decker and Shane Black.
Oh, nice.
Talk about having a reason to be bitter. He wasn't in that regard because Decker and Black were friends before they wrote this movie together. But 1987, that's the same time that Shane Black was writing Lethal Weapon. And so his career went in a totally different direction for totally different reasons. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, and it's just been... essentially, this documentary is a really interesting sort of love letter to the fans who have kind of given this movie a resurgence 20 plus years after the fact. And it's really nicely made. It's a really nice sentiment for the documentary, and it works really well. And it was a really interesting watch. I will admit, watching this documentary doesn't really make me want to watch the movie, but I had kind of other reasons for not wanting to watch the movie, which, I mean, it just sort of didn't address all that, but it's fine. I'm sure it's a good movie. It was weird. There were a lot of flaws in what happened around the movie. I mean, we've made jokes about John Carter syndrome as far as bad marketing for movies. John Carter, that they kind of took their cues from this movie because it was horribly marketed, and it was a little weird to have a movie which is centered on a group of kind of preteen kids that's rated PG-13. So basically, the people in the age group of the group of kids in the movie can't go watch this movie without taking their parents with them. And so you're making a movie aimed at a group and then marketing it towards like the next higher age group, which would never be caught dead watching a movie starring kids that age. It's very weirdly done. But yeah, and it's like I said, it's a really nice documentary. I highly recommend it. It's on, oh gosh, you can get it in almost anywhere. I watched it on Tubi, but it's on Vudu and Roku too. It is definitely, even if you're not, like I said, even if you're not a big fan of the movie, it's still a really interesting documentary.
What's the name of it again?
It's called Wolfman's Got Nards, which is probably the most famous line from the movie from the Monster Squad itself. And it's a really nice documentary. I keep saying nice because that's just kind of the sentiment you get from it. This is an emotional story about a movie and its fans who have basically resurrected it from the dead. So definitely recommend.
Cool.
Nice.
I'm going to track that one down too.
All right, Les.
Well, I went the other direction. Everybody else was talking about great stuff. So I found a publication from Source Point Press. It's Midnight Matinee Comics, and they are featuring the Island of Lost Gorillas. This is what they call fumetti. And Thomas, I would say you may remember fumetti from Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
They came out with the fumetti book.
Mm-hmm.
And what that was, in their case, it was photographs of staff members, and then they made up dialogue for them. This is similar, but this took an actual movie. And I don't know how to describe it. It's a bad movie, for one. If you've seen it, I feel sorry for you. I found it and then watched it just to compare the two, the fumetti version and the movie.
And your eyes are healing nicely from where you tried to claw them out?
Yes. This was the movie Bela Lugosi meets the Brooklyn Gorilla. And yes, that was the title of the movie.
I remember hearing that title somewhere, yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It's horrible. It's freaking horrible. Lugosi is going through this kind of in a daze, and I don't believe it's from drugs or anything like that. It's just, he's very stiff in this whole film. Island of Lost Gorillas, though, featured a comedy duo that Sammy Perillo, I believe is the guy's name, and his partner. Sammy Perillo was sued by Jerry Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because the characters that Perillo played, I think he only got away with one movie, but
he was doing Jerry Lewis. He was
doing Jerry Lewis, and it was pretty bad to begin with. So, yes, the Dean Martin character sang. You go, you're in the middle of the jungle, you're on a jungle island, and you're going to sing? What the hell is going on with this movie?
That sounds like an Elvis Presley film.
It does. It does. Or a road movie. All of a sudden, Crosby and Hope would start singing. You're going, what the hell are you guys doing?
Well, they're moving right along.
No, I thought that was the Muppets, but okay.
Well, they sang while they were going down the road.
There you were.
And
Hair loose and fancy free.
This is something that I recommend. This is to me it was a very funny book to read. And if you watch the movie and then read the book, it makes a lot more sense, and you go, wow, this book is a hell of a lot funnier than the movie. Yeah, if you can track it, pick one up. It's a nice little addition to your collection because, I mean, the cover even says directed by Alan Smithy. So that tells you how real this was.
Nice.
Give this one a try.
Yeah, the movie didn't ring a bell until you started kind of talking about it, because I remember reading something about it. Mainly the thing that I remembered was the whole thing with the lawsuit regarding the comedic duo that was they were basically ripping off Martin Lewis.
Yes.
So
yes.
I mean that's pretty sad when, you know, the thing that reminds you of the movie is a freaking lawsuit. You know, not the movie itself or anything regarding that. It's a lawsuit that, hey, you're stealing someone else's shtick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I still kind of want to watch it because it just sounds so horrible, and you just kind of make you wonder. I mean, we know Lugosi's history and all that, but he was that desperate to do something like this. So yeah.
And
the
the
answer
end
is
of his
yes.
career, yeah, he really was, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And this was like the fourth movie he had done, I believe, with that director. And obviously it was toward the end. So, like you guys said, let's get out there and make something stupid and make some money from it.
We have said that before, haven't we?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. Yep. And if the Family book doesn't sound familiar to some of y'all, I would point out a more recent example, although it's been several years since there's been one. But John Byrne was doing Star Trek stories for IDW, where he used pictures from the original series and just pieced it together for original story. That's kind of the same thing.
Well, and not to hit too close to home, but a couple of years ago, there was an MST3K comic series.
Yes.
Which did some of that also.
That's true. Yep. That's true.
So.
I
mean, which of those is easier to track down at this point? I couldn't tell you, but there's a couple of examples.
Okay. Well, for me, I wish I could say something, especially since we kind of had 2 weeks off, but I had a lot on my plate. One thing I kind of talked about a little bit in our Discord to the guys. You know, we've been doing this for close to 6.5 years now. And I'm the one that does all the scheduling and all that, but for some strange reason, I never kept track of, okay, we did this, we did that, and that kind of thing. So, you know, over the course of this 2 weeks, I was kind of working on scheduling. And I was going, man, it seems like we've talked about this before. Or I was working on other stuff. So I actually took the time to go back and actually make a list of the 300 plus episodes we've done so I can have that as a reference. And come to find out, we were about to do a couple episodes that we had already.
So your timing was really good on doing that list.
So I was like, yeah, that's you know, I was sure I was going to post a schedule, and one of y'all were going, didn't we talk about this before? So,
I thought it was
So-
the continental version.
That's right. So, I mean, it was mainly to try to keep track of the casting calls, because the thing is all this is swirling in my head. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, did we do this, or was it something I was thinking that we might do, and I just never put it down, or somewhere in between and all that, and it's just it gets tough.
Especially with this many episodes. We've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, well, and like I said, I hadn't kept track of it, so that's all on me. But so.
Well, I'm going to say it's not all on you.
No, not at all.
No.
Well, no, what I mean by that is I should have been keeping track of it, so I wouldn't have had this issue. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not.
Whatever. I mean, and when you throw the schedule out there for us, I mean, it's not a big deal for us to fact check you a little bit. It's fine. Would not have been a big deal at all.
No, it wouldn't have been, but I mean.
And what would have been funny is if all four of us had forgotten that we had talked about that, and then until we get
Just
like
did
halfway
it
through
again.
recording that episode, and we're like, wait a minute, this sounds way too familiar.
Yeah, it seems like we've gone over this before. Yeah.
That would
Yeah.
almost be funny.
So that's about it. So I hope to have some more fun for next week. So.
Woo!
All right, before we get into this week's discussion, I mentioned it a few minutes ago that we do have a Discord that is open for you to come join us. We post a lot of news items, we post memes, we post trailers, we post stuff for discussion, have some fun activities on there. Sign up for Discord. It's free. You can just go to the website. The app is free on the app, all the app stores. We do have an open invite on our homepage, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, and come join us.
Yeah, come join us.
Join us.
Join
One
us.
of us. One of us.
We have cookies.
There's a movie we haven't talked about.
Well, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. I need to put that on the list.
That would be an interesting one
Yeah.
as a wild ass movie.
I don't think I've.
Speaking of wild ass movies, what was?
Okay.
I know I have brought it up, and I think Les actually has too. And I spotted it on Tubi the other day.
Okay.
Forbidden Zone.
Oh, yes, I did. I
It
did
is
see
on
that as
Tubi.
well.
Now's your chance, people.
Yeah.
That is one majorly weird movie.
Liz,
It
have you
is
seen it?
entirely
I don't
worth
think I
watching.
have.
Oh, you need to see it.
Oh, go, yeah.
Yes.
Come on. Danny Elfman.
And what is it called again?
Forbidden Zone.
Mm-hmm.
Forbidden Zone.
Music by Danny Elfman and Oingo Boingo.
Mm-hmm.
With Hervé Villachez.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Starring.
Starring
Yes.
Hervé Villachez. And Susan Terrell.
Yeah, I did notice that a couple weeks back when I was watching that the documentary on Scrabble. I did see it. It seems like it's something that had just been added
Mm-hmm.
within the
in the
last.
last couple of weeks.
Yeah, yes, it was. Yeah, because I was going through the just arrive category, and that's where I saw some of the documentaries, and I did see that. I was like, ooh, okay, yeah.
Sorry, that was utterly effing random, but it popped into
No,
my head
no.
right then and there.
Welcome to my world.
Mm.
Okay. For this week, we wanted to take some time to discuss. This year marks the 30th anniversary of Cartoon Network's debut. And I remember watching a lot of Cartoon Network back in the day because I'm seeming to think at that point in time, cartoons have basically disappeared off everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The major TV networks had switched their Saturday programming to more of the educational, informational material, which is fine. And some of the other cable companies who used to show cartoons just didn't do it anymore. And here comes Cartoon Network, and you'd see all the classic shorts and new material. So, figure we take a few minutes to kind of talk about the impact of Cartoon Network, and just kind of take a trip back down memory lane. So, who would like to go first?
Ooh, me.
You talk about cartoons? No.
Nah.
Just remember, you already had your rant portion of the episode.
Right. Well, I had already decided that after their little snafu, I wasn't even going to mention that. So, when Cartoon Network first came out, it was not original programming, and that's when it was the best.
Wow. Ouch.
I mean, you had like the Jetsons and Tom and Jerry, and they had one what a cartoon show where they would show you like the old 1930s cartoon, and then where they updated it and put it in color like in the 60s, and they played them side by side, split screen, and it was kind of like, wow, you learned something. They also had black and white TV before it was Adult Swim. It was the black and white show. All black and white cartoons. Freaking amazing. I was so excited when they announced this. Not too long after Cartoon Network, this came out like in October. That December, they decided to do something which was probably the best thing they ever did, and that was make Boomerang. They decided that some of the older cartoons that I just mentioned, like their black and white stuff, we're going to move that over on Boomerang, and we're going to play the newer, older cartoons, the colored ones over here. I'm not sure exactly what year they decided to start making their own original programming. Now, before people are like, oh my God, does she just watch cartoons? Part of my background, for 30 plus years, I've watched little kids. So, plus I raised two of my own kids. So, I can't remember a time that I ever stopped watching cartoons. Yeah. I could even tell you from preschool to adult cartoons. What do you want to know? So Boomerang was made from Cartoon Network, and like I said, they pushed the old stuff over there, which was great for us, the older adults. Then they started making Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Laboratory, Johnny Bravo.
Oh, mama.
Oh, mama. Cow and Chicken, Courage the Cowardly Dog. All really, really great cartoons. Some of these cartoons, though, you started noticing a shift that now I could be wrong on this, but when Cartoon Network first announced this ideal, it was for the kids who never grew up. So they pushed it towards adults, of course, because, face it, normal teenagers aren't watching black and white cartoons. That was meant for a certain audience. Well, then it seemed like later down the road, with the more and more programming that they started adding, they started pushing the adults off to the side. And they finally realized, hey, we're pushing the adults off, which was who pays for this cartoon channel?
Right. The people who pay for cable TV so they can watch this.
Yeah. So their ideal was Adult Swim. Once again, when Adult Swim first came out, it was amazing. We had shows like, let me see if I can pronounce it right, Metalocalypse? Metal,
Metalocalypse. Metal.
metal,
Damn it.
Metalocalypse.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is. It's really hard. And but that one, which was basically like a bunch of black metal singers. They were metal. It was metal. It was good. If then now we're a few years into a Cartoon Network now. I'm not laying a good timeline, but a few years into Cartoon Network, they were like, "Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we make some really, really stupid shows, live action, and we'll put it over here on Adult Swim. Maybe we'll get the stoners to watch it, maybe not, you know." It was stupid. It failed. It almost tanked the whole channel because it was stupid. And now this is things like Children's Hospital, Squidbillies, I think, was another one that almost tanked them. And there was one other cartoon that they just thought was it, and it wasn't. It really wasn't. But a lot of this live action stuff, that's when I started changing the channel. Now, when you have someone like me who absolutely loves your product and I'm changing the channel, you got a big problem. Half the time my TV's on just for background noise. If I don't even like your channel enough for background noise, you have a problem. Plus, not to mention, we're now into the age of, I'm not going to, Teen Titans was good. That was part of their original. Now we're at the age of Teen Titans Go. And all the other little stupid things they're doing right now. The rebirth of the Powerpuff Girls. Why do you have to reboot it? Why don't we show these kids who have never seen it, why don't we show them the old stuff again? You know? But, so Cartoon Network really hemorrhaging. They decided to buy Cartoon Neato. Big mistake. Which kind of really showed, once again, they're trying to handle live action and cartoon, and they're kind of like, why isn't anybody liking live action? I don't know. Why would we like live action on a cartoon channel? It's half your name. And that's what they boasted to be, was cartoons all the time, 24/7, you know, never interrupted. And honestly, in the beginning, there was not a lot of commercials. Just saying. I understand the need for commercials and advertising and that kind of thing. But so once again, we're at the point where Cartoon Network is like, what are we doing? We've got to do something. They're finding a little success with Teen Titans Go, but they're finding the audience who likes Teen Titans Go and that kind of programming is not the same audience that was liking Johnny Bravo and Powerpuff Girls and Courage the Cowardly Dog. It's two different it's two different brave wings, you know. So they've decided, they went ahead and they sold out, which might be a good thing for them. And they're currently in the hands of Warner Brothers Discovery. Yay! Not. Little accident that happened with Discovery was a channel called Sprout. It was amazing. And then once again, they were like, preschool channel. Now, once again, the age group for these shows that they were playing was probably between the ages of 1 and 4. That would be your age group. Well, then they started playing like reality shows, like kids who are 12, 13 competing in reality shows. Now, my 3-year-old doesn't give a flip if your 14-year-old can hop across a ball, you know. So Channel Chan, it tanked big time. They should have never even messed with the programming, but this was after Discovery bought it. They tried rebranding it. They tried, putting a little pretty bow on it, and it just didn't work, and the channel is no more. So I'm kind of curious to see what they will do now with Cartoon Network. Some of the positives I have seen, it looks like they're going back to their old stuff, and with HBO being part of the main focus here now. I think a lot of people forget sometimes that Warner Brothers DC is HBO, and before Warner Brothers and everything else, HBO was actually, they kind of got tired of being an adult-only channel, and a big step out of that was they bought Sesame Street and did wonderful, can't sing their praises enough of what they did to Sesame Street. So it's in them to fix Cartoon Network with some of the things that they're doing. But anyway, I'm sorry. HBO has all of the Looney Tunes catalog. They owned that before they were bought out and everything else. Some of the newer stuff Cartoon Network is talking about doing is taking Looney Tunes. Bugs Bunny, they're turning him into a, kids educational show. I don't know how far they're going to get into the educational part of the show, but it's going to be called, I didn't write that down.
That's an interesting name for a cartoon show.
Right.
Very different.
I can't remember what they're doing with that one. But
I was thinking Bugs Bunny was always educational when you're looking at it from a certain point of view.
Well, they did do Baby Looney Tunes for a while, which wasn't, I wouldn't say it was educational, more as a moral kind of story. You're not really learning anything but how to be nice and be a good citizen kind of thing, which I'm sure is teaching, but
it is. That's educational in its own way.
Right. When I think educational, I'm thinking of
Bueller.
Teaching them ABCs and numbers. Right? But HBO, with Sesame Street, one of the newest things they've done is they have a thing now called Mecha Builders. And it's Elmo, Abby, and Cookie Monster, and they're robots. But each episode is like a STEM. It's they're teaching them, the basic STEMs. So it's kind of cool because to me that's educational. They're showing you, they're breaking it down, and having the kids think. So I'm hoping, since they're in the same wheelhouse together now, that they'll kind of do something like that. Because Baby Looney Tunes was cute. So,
And cute is really all that matters in the world.
Well, with kids, it is. You get something cute and they want to see. And once they see, they start learning, and so you have to start off cute. If not,
You have way more of a look inside the mind of a toddler than I do, so I'm willing to believe you on this.
But I'm hoping. Oh, and then one other thing they're doing is the Bye Bye Bunny, which kind of reminded me. It's not live action, thank God, but it kind of reminded me of like the Muppet movies that they're gonna do, but with Bugs Bunny. So I don't know. Hopefully, fingers crossed, they will pull this together. My hopes. We had talked about this, not in this context for the show, but on a news article.
Context. You're funny.
I'm hoping what they do is that Cartoon Network will go back to cartoons, just cartoons, push their older stuff that they're playing. Well, I don't even know if they're playing it over there anymore. I've basically been watching Boomerang now. If they're losing money, go ahead and make Boomerang a streaming service. I think it is anyways. I order it. Cartoon Network, they need to go back to younger kids, and then in the evening, not Adult Swim. I think they went too far over into the adult side of Adult Swim. And I don't mean pornographic. I just mean it's not funny. I watch cartoons because it's stupid funny. I don't have to think. I don't have to follow the plot. brain garbage. You know? Put
Ouch.
that back on in the evening. Well, you know what I mean. You're not really, yeah, but so that's what I'm hoping they do. I think they can turn it around if they do it. They have a great ideal. They need to stop comparing themselves to Disney and Nickelodeon, because that's Disney and Nickelodeon never came out and said we're cartoons only. So, and anytime they've tried to do the kid shows like Nickelodeon does, it's just never been any good. So, stick with what you know.
Right, and I mean, you got to think that the reason they want to branch out is because, yeah, they were the first network that was strictly animation, but the deal is that's always going to have a limited viewership because
Yep.
not everybody's into animation. So they want to expand their viewership, they got to expand away from animation a little bit. Whether that ends up peeing in the pool or not, who knows? I mean, probably at
It
some
will.
point it's going to dilute. You're diluting things, and so
Yeah.
yeah, and so it's a more than likely a business decision, and it's unfortunate, but that's the way it works.
Yeah. Like I said, I hope it's thrown over into HBO's hands. I think if anybody can find that balance between the kid and the adult that they're trying to reach to, it's going to be HBO. You know?
Which is its own interesting statement about HBO, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, because for so long they were branded an adult, adult content. That was the Wiggly channel. The one that
Don't
you
confuse
squinted.
HBO and Cinemax now. That's
Yeah.
they're
Well,
different.
they weren't Cinemax, but you have to admit, after 10 o'clock on HBO, it usually was.
Oh, you're watching the yeah, definitely you're
You know.
watching the grown-up movies by then.
So they kind of got that name to them. So I think the work that they've done in the kids thing is trying to show them that, hey, that's not us. That was us. That was part of us. But if you look at our catalog now, that's not us.
Right.
We have so much more.
We've grown.
Yeah. And like I said, they can turn to garbage tomorrow, and I will still sing their praises, because what they did for Sesame Street. Now, like I said, 30 plus years watching kids, plus my own, when I was a kid, I grew up on Sesame Street. There's so much to learn, and, it's not just ABCs, but like I was saying, how to be a good friend. They take those perfectly. And it doesn't matter if you're black, white, pink, brown. It's the same message across the board. And it's hard to find a program today that does that without offending a bunch of people. And Sesame Street has done it beautifully. So I hope that they continue to push Sesame Street the way that they have, because so many kids are learning. And how freaking weird is it for someone to take a property that huge and still make it public for children? You don't have to pay for our channel, just watch it on PBS, That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
They have a heart somewhere in there.
Right. They did the right thing.
They did the right thing.
They treated it right.
When our government wouldn't.
Well,
They stepped up when they were cutting funding, so if it wouldn't have been for them, we wouldn't have Sesame Street right now. So
there you go. Which is
But
not on Cartoon Network.
no. Well, actually, it
No,
is.
I know. You tied it together with the
Yeah.
they bought it. Yeah.
The
I'm kidding.
okay. Well, the Mecha Builders is on Cartoon Network.
Cool.
It's not actually, that isn't offered on PBS, not that I know of yet. So, and of course, it's on HBO Max. So,
Of course.
and if you have kids, even young kids, HBO Max has tons and tons and tons of old stuff, new stuff, educational stuff that's on their channel. So, including Cartoon Network. Boomerang is not, though. That is a separate channel.
Boomerang is a spin-off. Yep.
Yep.
It was.
Which is kind of weird. I guess they're liking keeping that separate because it is the same people and everything that run it. So I don't know why it's not offered on HBO Max.
I'm sure they're keeping it separate for some reason or other.
Yeah, for people like me. You know, ever since Cartoon Network has came out, every cable channel, or every time I've switched my cable, I always tell them I have to have Cartoon Network and Boomerang. And usually that puts you in a higher package.
Strangely
I,
enough.
yeah, I have been very loyal to Cartoon Network. Being a girl and all.
I'm sure they appreciate it.
They don't.
They have no idea, right?
So yeah, that's my thoughts. Like I said, I hope they pull it together.
Dang. I didn't even really look at what they do now. Jeez, I was looking at what they did 30 years ago. And to answer your question about when they started making original content, it was almost immediately.
Was it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was within a year, I think.
Well, I mean, I guess Johnny Bravo and that kind of stuff is older.
Right. I mean, because, yeah, that stuff was, I mean, they launched in 92. That stuff I know was out by 94.
Yeah.
And they were showing it constant rotation.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I was a fan at that point, despite the fact that I literally just got out of college. I was a grown-up for all legal intents and purposes. And I watched the hell out of Cartoon Network. I mean, I remember all the stuff you were talking about there at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that kind of rekindled my love of cartoons that I had already had. I had been watching, I mean, when I was in college, I mean, we watched the hell out of Tiny Toons and Animaniacs all the time. And that Cartoon Network
I forgot that was theirs.
Was showing. Oh, it wasn't. It was before. But yeah, they were showing. They bought. I mean, what started them on the road was Turner had bought Hanna-Barbera, basically Lock, Stock, and Barrel, and so they owned all of the Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Which is a lot of content.
Right, and so that's how they managed to kick off a 24-hour network.
Yeah.
Was they owned all that shit, and then.
And you know, even there at the end, they did have a Hanna-Barbera hour.
Mm-hmm.
So they still pushed it before they finally pushed it over to Boomerang.
Yep. And yeah, Boomerang was. When did Boomerang start? God, it was a few years later.
No, it was just a few months.
Oh, was it that quick? Yeah, I knew it was pretty early on, but.
Yeah, the Cartoon Network started in October, and Boomerang premiered in December. Of the same. Yep.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, I was always back and forth between the two for the first several years anyway. Because there was stuff I wanted to see on both of them all the time. Because even at that point, I hadn't seen a lot of the Hanna-Barbera stuff. I mean, I'd seen some of it. I knew what some of it was just from looking stuff up and just kind of knowing what the deal is. But I hadn't seen a lot of it, and so there was a lot of interesting stuff. There's a lot of not interesting stuff too, obviously. But
well, they used to break the artists down too, which was really interesting, and only play like Tex Avery or only the ones that Hannah was involved in, and you know, it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it used to be really cool.
They would get almost educational with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because they would talk about some of the background stuff, and it's the kind of stuff like if you bought when Warner Brothers put out their Golden collections. God, that has to have been 10, 15 years ago. There's a bunch of that stuff on there. So, yeah, not surprisingly, I've got all that shit on DVD. And, yeah, you go back and check out. I mean, they even get into some of the... they talked about how Turner and Cartoon Network did some editing of some of those some of the old, like, Looney Tunes cartoons, for example. That's the big example. And so when Warner Brothers put them all out later on, they took all that editing off and published them as they were originally, and kind of made a slightly too big a deal about it. But that's kind of neither here nor there.
Didn't just a couple of years ago they edited all again?
I don't know if it was Warner that did that or not.
Oh,
I'm not sure. Yes, I remember hearing that.
they took out the guns and anything where they're smoking.
Well, and they had done that. That was what they had done originally with back in the 90s too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But on Boomerang, it's still there. It's the original.
Cool. Well, that's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. I mean, even just having that in your mind when you're watching the old versions, the unedited versions, there's some stuff where you're like, okay, I can kind of see why somebody would want to cut this out. But
Yeah.
anyway, now I feel like I'm wandering off into the weeds.
Or they prank their bosses and put them in some of the cartoons.
Oh man, seriously, and
There was a lot of those.
yeah, just oh man, yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff with that.
But see, that's the stuff you learned and picked up on because that's the stuff they told you about.
Well, and the other thing to keep in mind is that those things were not originally made for children.
Mm-mm.
They
Nope.
were made for grown-ups. So there's a lot of adult humor in Looney Tunes cartoons. I mean, from day one.
Which was why when Cartoon Network, was like, this was for the kids who didn't grow up, they pushed it to adults. Mm-hmm. This wasn't supposed to be a channel for kids,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Which is one of the reasons it appealed to someone like me who was in their 20s.
Yes. Yep.
I mean, I was probably even a bit young for that demographic.
See, I like the older cartoons. Just because I was saying Mind Garbage, this newer stuff out today, that's kind of what it is. That you're not learning anything. There's really no point to
There's
it.
Not really
it's
much
just
substance there.
A bunch of shit thrown around on screen,
Right. It's just flashy colors and fast-moving stuff, and yeah. Whereas at the outset of Cartoon Network, there were stories. I mean, yes, there was a lot of stupid going on, but it was funny stupid for the most part, or at least that was the intent. I mean, we've talked about Johnny Bravo already. Man, they don't get much dumber than that.
Yeah.
But it was hilarious.
They would not make Johnny Bravo today.
No, they wouldn't.
I don't even know if he's replayed anywhere. Isn't that crazy?
I mean, no, because not everything lives forever,
Right. Yeah.
Something like Powerpuff Girls is a little more universal may not be the right term, but it's what pops into my head. It's a little it appeals to a broader audience and is honestly less offensive, because that's the deal with Johnny Bravo, is that it was a little offensive even then. It was that awkward funny thing that they were playing towards, and that was the point. So it was okay. I guess it was. I mean, okay is relative, but something like Powerpuff Girls, I for the life of me can't. I mean, I can understand why they would want to remake Powerpuff Girls. I can't quite understand why they would actually do it, because it seems like a big risk when you've just got the original stuff that doesn't. It was created in a way that doesn't really date it all that well, all that much. Yeah. And so it's. I mean, again, I wouldn't go so far as to say timeless, but there's no reason why you couldn't just show them now. And I mean, Dexter's Lab was kind of, sort of the same way. It was a little that one would be kind of in between the two, because you get some stuff that maybe doesn't age quite as well. I mean, the relationship between Dexter and Dee Dee was not an entirely healthy one. So
right,
that gets dodgy after a while. But I mean, still, it's just funny stuff, and they made fun of stuff that people in that target age range would get. I mean, the one that sticks in my head is there's a full half an hour long episode of Dexter's Laboratory that's basically a parody / ripoff of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Yeah. And it's hilarious, but that was a movie that when they did that episode of Dexter's Lab, that was a movie that was 20 years old. The kids wouldn't know it then, so it wasn't aimed for them.
It was new. Yeah.
Right. It was aimed at a group of people that would have known, that would have watched that movie as a kid. So you're looking at people that are 25, 30 years old at that point.
Yeah.
And it worked. I thought it was hilarious. Worked on me anyway. Maybe I'm gullible. I don't know.
See, I liked it.
But yeah. So
I like the one where he replaces Dee Dee.
Robot Dee Dee.
No, where he has the other girl come in.
Oh,
She's
right.
dancing around. If you want me to sit on your lap, that's extra.
Right. Again, not aimed at children.
Yeah, they need to do shows like that again.
Yeah, but they never will. They did shows like that 30 years ago. That's not how this works, unfortunately. We always want them to do stuff aimed at us, and we're not in charge yet.
Yeah.
When we're in charge, maybe they will.
And then the sad thing is, I realize as I get older, I'm not their target audience anymore.
Right.
They
Well,
wanted the young adults.
and it also sometimes gets, like you were saying before, it gets a little fuzzy as to whether they really understand their target audience to begin with. So
they don't.
it's
yeah.
it's just like anything else. They're all guessing. They're throwing stuff against the wall and hoping something sticks.
Yep. But just so you guys know, Johnny Bravo, I think his name was Jeff. Hang on. Jeff Bennett. He's like all over kids' cartoons today.
He's one of those that, yeah.
Half the shows Leanne watches, I hear his voice at least 2-3 times a day, and it's like, I know who that is.
There was a whole crowd of voiceover actors back that came from that time that are they basically just came in and took over the industry, and there's I don't want to say a handful, there are several, but a lot of them are still working.
Yes.
A lot of them are still working today.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Mark Hamill.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, had a complete career resurgence doing voiceover work in the early 90s in this time frame that we're talking about. He's still doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the great things of voice acting is they're not so harsh on you aging. Unless your voice changes, you're
pretty good, right?
You're pretty good.
If you're good, you're good, and you can. And if you're good,
weight,
your voice can change, and you can account for it and change the roles you're getting to reflect it and keep going.
Yes.
Right. Half the time they're inventing the voice anyway. So I mean they're getting a little bit of direction as to what they're looking for, but they're making it all up.
Yeah.
If they're good enough to do that, doesn't matter what their voice sounds like. And I have a lot of respect for them. Honestly, the voiceover actors, they're amazing.
They are. A lot of respect.
All right, Les, I know you have an opinion.
What if I said I didn't? Would that surprise you?
No, because you say obstinate stuff all the time. But anyway, carry on.
I say what?
Nothing. Just kidding.
I didn't hear anything. Nothing here.
What? Did somebody say something? I don't
know. In one shape or another, Cartoon Network will go on. This is like Disney in the respect that some of the voice actors for Disney are they're legends now. Look at the kid that did the voice for Phineas on Phineas and Ferb. He was a Disney actor. He was doing little roles in different programs. He ended up with that, and he's done buku things since. The thing with the network, Cartoon Network, is not only is it timeless, but it is something that can be renewed, can be returned to the fold, and made new and exciting. I'm with you folks that the Cartoon Network has brought so many good things to light. It's had some groaners, but that's okay too. Johnny Bravo, to me, is the funniest thing that cartoons have created in so many decades. To me, there was nothing funnier than seeing this. What do I want to say? I'm at a loss for words.
Lunacy?
He's a misanthrope. He's a misanthrope. He's so stupid, but how could you not enjoy watching it?
Yeah.
And to me, his best episode was with the cast of Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
I said, this is genius. And
he said a lot of what we were thinking.
oh yes.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not going to just sign off with it, but I am going to say happy 35th, because you've got the potential to continue for several more decades.
Yeah.
And no one will be tired of seeing what you do.
Unless you start pandering to children, which is a huge mistake all the time.
Hey, now wait a minute.
Children ain't got no money.
Yeah, but you don't know who's listening too.
Some of their children's stuff. Oh my God. Uncle Grandpa. That little sailor kid that you want to drown.
Popeye?
No. This is... I can see him, but I can't even think of the name now. There's been some real big misses.
Sure.
That
course there has.
blob-looking kid who's a chef. Yeah. There's been some big misses.
But obviously big hits too. I mean, y'all already
definitely.
mentioned Johnny Bravo, but I don't think did anyone mention Codename Kids Next Door?
No, not
No.
yet.
They still play that one on there at night. And then after Codename Kid Next Door, they play Foster's Home for Imaginary Kids.
Mhm.
And then after that, they go into the old Smurfs.
Ooh.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but that's like late night Cartoon Network. Yeah. But also recently, they did Rick and Morty, which has been a pretty big hit. I like that one. And Robot Chicken.
Mm.
I think it's still
Which
going on
was-
there too.
Which was an early mainstay of Adult Swim.
Yep.
Oh yeah, some of that early stuff is just genius.
Yeah,
Yep.
by Seth Green.
Mhm.
Oz.
Mhm.
Yeah, some of it's been really good, but some of it's, like I said, it's just, yeah.
Well,
I mean,
well, I mean-
there's nothing out there that hasn't had some misses along with their hits. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
the greatest networks of all time have had bad shows, just like the greatest bands of all time have had bad songs. Same deal.
Mm-hmm.
You just gotta kind of look past it and celebrate the good stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So we're celebrating the good stuff.
We're celebrating the good stuff. We're celebrating the good times.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Total Rule Dramarama. That also did real good on there.
There you go.
That was kind of like a cartoon reality show.
Mm-hmm.
What about Samurai Jack?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes.
And there for a while after Adult Swim, they did Inuyasha, which was how I even learned anything about anime at all. And then they did, what was it, Horseman Jack, and there was another popular anime that was on there, but it left my mind.
There you go. So yeah, dabbling into other types of animated media.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
They gave us a good sampling. Probably brought a good chunk of kids in the U.S. into anime.
Yeah. Mine.
There you go.
Wasn't the Grim Adventures of Billy Maddie, wasn't it on?
Mhm.
I think so.
Yes.
That was. Yep.
That was another fun one.
Yep.
I haven't thought about that one in a while. Jeez.
Ben 10.
Yeah, I believe so.
Think so. Yeah.
I never really got
And-
into that one, but
Yeah.
Two Stupid Dogs. I loved that cartoon.
yep.
That's cute. But it's wrong!
Of course you got into Two Stupid Dogs. Cow and Chicken was another one early
Oh,
on.
yes. Yep.
Yeah.
That, man, that was some weird shit.
I Am Weasel.
Uh-huh. Spin-off.
Yep.
Michael Dorn.
Oh, yeah. I am Weasel.
Was it Freakazoid also Cartoon Network?
No,
No,
Freakazoid was
It
Warner.
was CW. Yeah.
Yeah,
Was it?
Not original.
yeah,
No.
it was. Yeah, I'm sure they played it, but yeah, that was pre.
Yeah.
Actually, it was about the same time, but it was on. Yeah,
It was either Fox or CW, one of those.
yeah, that was kind of. It kind of was one of the things that filled the gap when Animaniacs left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was that time frame. But
So happy birthday, Cartoon Network, and hopefully many more years to come.
yeah, make
Yep.
us some more cool cartoons.
There you
Yes.
go. And on that note, we are going to take a quick break and come back with Geek News for You. And we're back, and it's time for Geek News for You. This segment, we bring a couple of news items to the table to discuss a little bit. And for this week, it is Liz and myself. And Liz, would you like to go first?
Sure. I noticed this article. I guess it was last week when they were talking about the new Disney cruise. That's the Star Wars cruise that they've done. Right? They did so great with the motel or the hotel. Let's make a cruise.
That's what we see with the Millennium Falcon as a model. That's what we need, is a Star Wars motel.
There you go.
Well, in this cruise with the whole Star Wars experience, you can buy a $5,000 cocktail. Is it just the cocktail though that you're getting? No. At first, when they announced this, nobody was saying what you were getting for $5,000. They were telling you about the cocktail, which contains a lot of cognac, which is expensive alcohol, I will say that. But bunch of fruit juice and everything else that was like, what is worth $5,000 in a drink? I mean, one sip, I better be fucked up. So apparently you're not paying just for the drink. With this drink, you also get. I lost it.
You better get a real fucking lightsaber. I'm just saying.
Right. With this drink, there's 4 silver-plated cups that come with it, all of which the purchaser, you get to keep those. You also get a Star Wars backpack, a water bottle. It says other gifts. I don't know what the other gifts are. And a hyperspace-themed room decoration. Plus, you get a bottle of sparkling wine from the Skywalker Ranch and a voucher for one person to visit the ranch in person, which is normally closed to the public. So $5,000, you are buying a drink, but it also sounds like you're also buying another vacation destination. Just a very expensive one. And like I said, the drink it sounds like it would taste nice, but
Meh.
yeah. I guess at this point you're actually buying the experience at the ranch for $5,000. That's the only thing I could really
Sounds
see.
like it, yeah.
Yeah. Because they made sure to say 4 silver-plated cups. So it's not even silver. They're silver-plated cups. So, I don't know. It seems like every time they do something, they have to have this big grand gesture that's so expensive. How many people do you really think can... there's no telling how much this cruise costs. And then on top of that, they want you to pay $5,000 to go visit a ranch, which is probably one of the cruise destinations. But, Jesus, you're already on vacation. You're already spending a lot of money just to be on vacation, So, I think I would pass, and I would use that $5,000 either for another vacation or go shopping and snorkeling.
Snorkeling? Did you say snorkeling?
Snorkeling, yeah.
You're a snorkeler?
Well, actually, when we went to Mexico, we did this thing called snuba, which is a cross between snorkeling and scuba diving. You have a tank that they float above the water, so you can only go as far as the cord, and you're just like in a snorkeling mask. So I that was pretty cool. So yeah, and not $5,000.
I wouldn't have begged you as a snorkeler.
In the ocean, close to the shore, sure. That's about as much as I like the water thing. So, lake, no way.
Oh, lakes are nasty.
Yeah, but with salt water, there's so many beautiful fish because their colors are so vivid and bright, and I don't mind seeing them.
Mm-hmm.
And when we went scuba diving, they come like right up in your face. They're like, "Hey, hello, look at me." So it's a pretty cool experience. I guess with so many of them doing it a day, they really don't mind you being there.
Yeah,
they don't.
They get used to people being around.
Yeah.
Which may or may not be good for them, but whatever.
Yeah.
No, I know human beings. It's not a good thing.
Yeah.
I avoid them whenever I can.
Well, I know they were very particular on, you can't have sunscreen on, and certain, you couldn't have perfumes and that kind of stuff. They didn't want you polluting the water. Couldn't take anything in. The only thing you could take in was the tank and the mask. So, as long as you didn't touch anything.
Oh, it's that kind of diving thing. No suits or anything, huh? Wow.
Well, it was suits, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But, see, with that kind of suit...
Nice recovery.
With that kind of suit, you don't have to wear, the skin suit, though. You can wear your regular bathing suit or whatever you're wearing in the water.
I didn't think you were finished with your skin suit yet. It rubs the lotion on its skin or it gets the hose again.
I can't get him the lotion in the basket.
We veered
I
off.
could see.
Never mind. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I can see me going down there for a $5,000 cocktail.
Really?
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
And then you woke up?
No, first thing I would do is jump in my electric car and make the trek over.
Oh, you can't say Trek. That's a Star Wars cruise.
Oh,
Wow.
That was painful.
I couldn't pay that.
I wouldn't
Maybe if
pay
that
that if I
included the
could.
cruise. I don't know. And the flight to get there to and from.
Maybe if the cocktail is like the size of a bathtub or something.
Well, I'm wondering if the 4 cups they give you is full of this cocktail.
It's full of something, all right.
Oh, so there's a lot of full of.
They're not giving you one. They just cut the fruit juice. Just give me the cognac.
You can
That's what I'm paying for, right?
You can get cognac cheaper than $5,000 for a glass. That's for sure.
Yeah, but then can you go to the Skywalker Ranch?
Well, no.
What the hell's the Skywalker Ranch?
That's basically the Lucasfilm headquarters.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, hey, yeah. I mean,
That's
see, I'm thinking it's like some kind of winery.
That's
Yeah, for
ILM.
ILM.
That's
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, see, that might be worth the experience then. To a big fan, I could see paying that much to,
For an exclusive thing.
Yeah.
I
I'm
still
not
couldn't
that
see
fan.
it.
Yeah. I mean, I like Star Wars and all, but yeah, not me.
Nope.
Yeah. All right. It is my turn. And this caught my attention a couple of days ago. Apparently, James Cameron did an interview with Empire Magazine, and some of the quotes are now hitting other journalist sites. And he's talking about Avatar 2, which should be coming out, I believe, the end of the year. But he's put everybody on notice. He does not want to hear people whine about the length of the film, which is a red flag, saying it's going to be a long ass film.
Probably 6 hours.
Here's the quote that was pulled from the article. It says, "I don't want anybody whining about the length when they sit and binge watch TV for 8 hours. I can almost write this part of the review. Quote, the agonizingly long 3-hour movie. It's like, gimme an effing break. I've watched my kids sit and do 5 one-hour episodes in a row."
Yeah, but they build in piss breaks for that.
Well,
You
you can
can
take
just
this.
pause it.
Yes.
So you can pause it.
You can't do that in a movie theater, jackwagon.
Well, and here's the other thing. One, you're gonna alienate people because they're not gonna want to sit in a theater for 5 hours for a film. Second of all, there may be some theaters say, I'm not gonna show that film because if it's a 4-hour film, the theater's open 12 hours. That means you only get 3 viewings of that film. At best.
If you're open 24 hours.
And also, you're
never
trying
mind.
to sell a sequel from a movie that came out 25 years ago. How much market is there for this to begin with? Let's be realistic here.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I don't see anybody screaming for a sequel.
Mm-mm.
And he's planning to do about 5 or 6 of these things.
Yeah, no, he's not, because somebody's
25
going to
years
stop
between
giving him
each
money.
one.
Probably.
Oh, sure.
George Lucas much?
Mm-hmm.
But it just it amazes me how yes, the the run times are getting a little bit longer, and they will, as long as people are willing to sit and watch them. I mean, the Batman was 3 hours. I mean, there were some complaints about it, but most were like it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of attitude at the time that the theaters are really hurting, for him to just come out and say, well, you know what, here's my 4-hour film, take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Okay, no, we'll go see other films,
Right.
and if I really want to see this, I'll wait till it comes on the streaming service, and then I'm able to watch it and take
then,
piss breaks.
right, I can
Fuck
pause
you,
it.
Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
20 years ago, this was something that people wanted. It's past its prime now.
Yeah.
Right,
It's
nobody
been
cares
forgotten
anymore.
about.
I didn't like the damn movie in the first place, to be honest.
You know, I have not seen it.
I've had no interest in seeing it, so I'm, you know.
To me, it read too much like live action Smurfs, and I said, nah.
Well, I can see where you're coming from.
That was some of the slanderous stuff that was written about it at the time, but
Yeah.
it's not really Smurfs, but it's also not really all that exciting. It's pretty, but beyond that, I mean, I don't remember there being a ton of substance to the thing.
It didn't get me interested in wanting to see it, so, you know.
I also did not see it in the theater. I saw it on DVD later.
Okay. So, considering this is his first film in, well, I guess since the last Avatar? Since the original one came out? Is this his first film?
I'm not sure. There haven't been many.
When was Titanic done?
I think Titanic was before Avatar.
Right before Avatar.
93, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think Titanic was 97. I think Avatar was
It was
few
97.
years later.
Okay.
Titanic was 97.
Yeah, because I remember seeing it in
Avatar
98.
was 2009.
Oh God, really? Was it that recently?
Mm-hmm.
Seems like longer. Maybe that's because the movie was so long. But anyway.
Yeah. The Avatar is 2009.
Okay, so it was only 15 years, not 25, but still.
Okay. Avatar: The Way of Water, which is Avatar 2, post-production for this year. Avatar 3 is in post-production for 2024. Avatar 4, quote-unquote, filming for 2026. And Avatar 5, quote-unquote, filming for 2028.
Huh. So he just made one long-ass movie, and he's cutting it up into pieces.
Basically,
Or
yeah.
the next two is probably one movie.
He's doing them two at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Whatever.
yeah, you know, I don't have a problem with the length of the film unless there's, you know, a 3-hour film could feel like an hour and a half if it's properly, if the story's strong enough, been edited good enough, and keeps you involved in the story. You know, that's me. Mm-hmm. I don't have a problem. But then again, there's some movies that are 90 minutes, and it feels like it takes 10 hours to watch it because it's so boring or whatever. So, you know, I don't have a problem with the length as long as it's appropriate for what is being presented. So, I mean, that's fine, but this attitude is, hey, I'm going to have this movie as long as I want, and y'all are just going to have to like it or not. Well.
Oh, we get the choice? Not, please.
Yeah, well.
I choose to not give him any money for this.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. It's like, well, you know, you don't have to have my money. That's fine. Someone else will go see the film. That's fine.
I'll go watch 2 movies in the time it takes me to watch your sorry ass movie.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't understand that attitude. So, but
I think he's setting himself up for a bad review.
Mm-hmm.
And not just because of the length of the movie.
Well, I think he knows it's a bad review, and he's already giving excuses for it.
That's right.
You could be right. It could. Yeah.
Wasn't he the one who bashed superhero movies not too long ago?
Who hasn't?
Yeah. The decline of the movies. When it's the only thing hitting major numbers at the box office here lately.
Well, I would like to go up to Scorsese and some of these and go, okay, what's your thoughts of the westerns of the 50s and 60s?
Mm-hmm. Or how about make something better that I want to see then?
Well, I mean, they, I mean, it takes all types. There's not everything has to be Goodfellas or something similar to that.
Right. Well, it doesn't have to be everybody's cup of tea, Anyway.
Enough of that. But it's just, I saw that and went, you got to be fucking kidding me.
What a dick.
Like, okay, whatever. So,
I'm glad you brought that forward, though.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's just, I just don't understand that mindset. But like y'all said, he probably knows that there's going to be a lot of bashing because of the film being long. It could be horrible too, and he's just sitting up. Well, y'all just didn't like run time, so y'all gonna just say anything bad about it. Well, no, it could be a crap film.
Exactly.
So, or it could be a good film. If it's a good film, it's not going to matter whether it's 2 hours or 4. If it's a good film.
Well, sometimes the 4-hour movies don't feel that long because it's a good story.
Yeah. I've watched some of the older films that were really long, like the Agony and the Ecstasy. Now, granted, there's an intermission built into it, which is something they don't do nowadays. Would that solve it? Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know. I don't think there's enough of those out there for them to do that, but that's not up to me. I don't know. But it's Agony and Ecstasy is like at least 3 hours, but it doesn't feel it.
Yeah.
Because it's an interesting story. I like the actors, and it was a damn good movie. If it's a good movie, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Any special mentions or shout-outs this week?
Nope.
No.
Nothing here.
Okay. We'll go on to our regular shout-outs. Want to thank Pop Goes the Culture Podcast Network for allowing us to be part of a great group of fellow podcasts. Definitely check them out. There will be a link in our show notes. We also want you to check out the fine men and women who make up Potter and Family, who have been so kind as to spread the word of the fellowship by retweeting our links on Twitter. Definitely check them out. The best way to do that is to go to Twitter, do a search, hashtag Potter and Family, one word. Just scroll through, and whatever catches your eye, please click on that link and download that episode. And we hope you have a good time listening to them. Thank you guys as always. Want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying the music to our podcast. There will be a link in the show notes where you can check out their fine work. Thank you guys. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We value your feedback. Any questions, comments, suggestions, complaints, observations, what have you, please send them our way. Email address is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, or you can go to the website, go to the About Us page, and there's a contact form you can fill out. On our Discord, we do have a feedback section where you can post your comments there. On social media, we're on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks. We're on Instagram, @Fellowship Geeks, and obviously we're on Twitter, the same. It's @Fellowship Geeks. If you like to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found @MikeyGeek. Liz can be found @LN_geek. Les may or may not be found @FakeLesWebster. And I can be found @TomTCGeek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you would please take a couple moments and rate and review the show, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night, all.
We do appreciate you listening, everybody. Thanks for the support as always. Until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook @The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter @Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,